I can't see your knees.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. So basically,
you have to be able to see everything.
I'm gonna go around in a circle, and each player's gonna say their name. They can't use their real name, so I'm just gonna start. I'm Mr. Dictator.
Legion 1.
Ender.
You can't use your real name for it.
It's not my real name.
It's an Ender.
Oh, as in Ender's
I heard
Game.
Ender's Game Ender?
Ender. Ender? Pop-Tart.
Silky Babbitt.
Silky Babbitt. Cody.
Hi, I'm a hallucination.
Player Hi, I'm a hallucination has been renamed to Camera. Pikachu. Okay.
Nicolas Cage's Sam. Nicolas Cage's Sam.
Nicolas Cage's Sam. Okay.
That's William one thing.
Oh. Hat?
Yes.
The player should be supposed to this player's right.
The player, one space of this player who's right has been renamed to Ukulele.
Morning.
Player Morning. Okay, so the universe is being formed now. I am going to wave hi to a hallucination. Hello, Chris.
Hi.
Hi, Chris!
Also, I will get you those pictures before study hall.
Mr. Dictator must eat the hallucination.
Yeah, give you a couple minutes.
Sweet.
Stop interacting with hallucinations.
Okay.
Mr. Dictator, this player requests to be named the combination CVS in Turkey Hill.
Request granted. Okay, so free speech is now revoked, so you guys can't. Sorry, other players cannot use pronouns. Speaking out of turn, 1 penance point. Cannot use pronouns or speak out of turn. If Mr. Dictator is addressed, the address must start with Mr. Dictator. Now, is that food? Okay, so test room. Mr. Dictator requests that these players stop throwing things at each other because these things are hallucinations. Speaking out of turn, 1 penance point. The player 1 space to Mr. Dictator's right's probably going to lose before Mr. Dictator starts with silent football. Not right now. Not right now. Okay, so there are several different kinds of moves that you can use. There's a slap, which you slap your knee. So I would slap my knee twice. Let's say if I wanted to pass to player Ender.
Mr. Dictator.
Speaking out of
as
turn,
in
1
Ender.
penance point. Not right now. So if I wanted to pass to player Ender, I would slap my leg twice. A player cannot reverse the direction of the silent football or flap more than 3 players away from themselves. Or flap a flap. Player!
Mr. Dictator, this player requests negative 42 penance points.
No.
The Grimalkin on the ceiling.
What? Request denied. Okay, so then there's also a zoom, which you point your arm in any direction and you have to make eye contact with the player. So if I wanted to zoom to the player 1 space to Mr. Dictator's right, I would. Yes?
Mr. Dictator, what's your right?
Actual right. And then defensive moves, there's a shrug. If a player passes to you if a player passes to another player, that player can then shrug. And a player cannot zoom a shrug a shrug, or flap a flap. Also, you cannot, there's another defensive move. Would you like to speak? Sorry.
Mr. Dictator.
Mr. Dictator awards themselves 2 penance points for being rude and using heinous pronouns.
It has come to this player's attention that previous to Mr. Dictator's most recent use of the heinous pronoun, quote, you, unquote, Mr. Dictator has used this pronoun once before.
Mr.
While
Dictator
Mr.
awards
Dictator-
themselves 2 more penance points and requests that the player 1 space to this player's right, please. Yes.
Mr. Dictator, this player.
No.
Mr. Dictator, this player requests
No.
a reading of the rules
No.
about bunny
Speaking out
rabbit.
of tune. So- Turn. Turn. Okay. Yes.
Mr. Dictator, this player requests help. This player is hallucinating buckets.
Good.
Mr. Dictator Buckets.
No. 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 Would a player like to demonstrate a Shroudum?
Mr. Dictator, does Mr. Dictator love bunny?
Speaking out of turn, 2 penance points. Okay, said player 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to Mr. Dictator's left. Please demonstrate a Shroudum. Okay, so the passing of the. Speak.
Mr. Dictator, that, player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players to this player's left did this, not this.
No, this player did this, which is the image. Yeah, see mirrors?
Okay, so the player 3 spaces to this player's actual left did a Shroudum, but it looks like they're doing that player did quote unquote because player 2 spaces to this player's actual right facing the opposite direction.
Mr. Dictator believes that what said player was trying to say was that said player was not actually touching
Oh.
that player's elbow. Now, the passing of the silent football. Yes.
Mr. Dictator, what's the weather today?
There is no weather today. Yes.
It's much more important to know whether there'll be weather than what the weather will be, don't you agree?
Yes. Stop. Now the silent.
Mr. Dictator, this player requests to know exactly what a Shroudum is and when it is used.
A Shroudum is like a shrug except not. It's used in like the same way, except you can't shrug a Shroudum and you can't Shroudum a shrug. Like how you can't. Yeah.
Said player used the word "you" about 4 times in that statement. Half a penance point.
Remember that one time I thought you wasn't a pronoun?
Speaking out of turn, another half a penance point.
Mr. Dictator, this player received 1 whole penance point for speaking out of turn. However,
1 penance point for complaining.
Mr. Dictator, how much wood would a woodchuck if a woodchuck could
No.
chuck wood?
Mr. Dictator, this player requests that we can actually finish said rules.
Mr. Dictator hopes that said player was using the royal we, and would like to mention that Mr. Dictator thinks the rules are finished.
Dictator.
1 penance point for speaking out of turn. 1 penance point, -1 penance point for liking bunnies. The passing of the silent football will now begin with the player 1 space to Mr. Dictator's political right. 1 space to Mr. Dictator's political right.
Mr. Dictator has come to this player's attention that player Pikachu has flapped a flap flap.
Correct. 1 penance point for flapping a flap flap. Let the passing of the silent football begin with the player Pikachu.
Mr. Dictator, it has come to this player's attention that the player 4 spaces this player's actual right has stolen the silent football.
Correct. 1 penance point for stealing the silent football. Let the passing of the silent football begin with player Ender.
Mr. Dictator, it has come to this player's attention that the player, Nicolas Cage's Sam, has swept the silent football in more than 3 spaces in the same direction.
That is correct. Said player will receive 4 mud, 3 penance points. Yes.
Mr. Dictator, this player has 2 points to make. First, this player would like to ask what Mr. Dictator is doing.
Eating.
Second, this player would like to request that the universe be expanded slightly this way, because this player cannot see the player.
Request granted. Please expand the universe a little. Bitch. The passing of the silent football. Yes!
Mr. Dictator, this player is offended by Mr. Dictator's language.
Mr. Dictator apologizes and awards himself 2 penance points.
Thank you, Mr. Dictator.
Yes, Mr. Dictator has low self-esteem. No, Mr. Dictator does not want a hug. The passing of the silent football will now begin with Mr. Dictator. What? What? Mr. Dictator awards the player 1 space to his actual left, a quarter of a penance points, because what the fuck is this? Yes!
Mr. Dictator, this player would like to request to give Mr. Dictator a hug anyway.
No. -1 penance point. Share it between player selves. Yes.
Mr. Dictator, this player would like to indicate that this player's hips are incapable of telling falsehoods.
Mr. Dictator, this player would like to request context for previous player statements.
Shakira.
Mr. Dictator.
1 point for speaking out of tune. Turn. Yes.
Mr. Dictator, this player requests to be renamed Shakira.
Request granted. Wait. Said player's new name is Shakira.
Mr. Dictator.
1 point for speaking out of turn. Yes!
Mr. Dictator pants
Are an unnecessary article of clothing. No, yes.
Could you, Mr. Dictator, please demonstrate how one speaks in tune?
Mr. Dictator requests that said player demonstrates first.
This player is speaking in tune.
Very good. -10 penance points. That was beautifully said.
Thank you, Mr. Dictator.
Mr. Dictator changes said player's name to Singer. No. Yes. Yes.
Mr. Dictator, this player thought that the player 3 spaces to this player's political right was speaking into, not singing into.
And the point is,
Said player's name was changed to Singer when
So?
said player was actually speaking.
said player's name is now changed to yes.
Mr. Dictator, this player requested this player's name be pronounced Shakira, Shakira.
Yes, good. Player.
This player requests that all players be required to speak in tunes.
Request denied, accepted for in the case of player Shakira Shakira. And player.
Thank you, Mr. Dictator.
Very good. Let the passing of the silent football begin with the player 1 space to Mr. Dictator's political right. Yes?
Mr. Dictator, this player is fairly certain the player 2 spaces. This player acknowledges that the player 1 space to this player's right likes fluffy bunnies. Regardless, Mr. Dictator, this player believes the player 1 space to Mr. Dictator's political right flapped 2 spaces. However, Mr. Dictator picked up the side football.
Well, I would like to address said player, the player 1 space, to Mr. Dictator's political right. How many spaces that said player actually flapped to the side of the football?
This player believes that this player only topped the side of the football 1 space.
1 penance point for being mistaken. Mr. Dictator will now start with the silent football. No. 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 What?
Mr. Dictator,
No.
this player provide advice to Pikachu. Pikachu, this player would like to remind you. Pikachu.
That was offensive, sir. 10 penance points for being offensive.
This player would like
Sir.
I know, I just don't know how to do them.
to provide Pikachu that Pikachu can zoom in addition to flopping.
Forget how to Is Mr. Dictator alright? Is Mr. Dictator alright?
Mr. Dictator is hungry.
Get down, Mr. Dictator.
Speaking out of turn, 1 penance point. Yes.
Mr. Dictator, this player would like to request that Mr. Dictator's name be changed to Lordy Dictator.
Oh, yes.